Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for another outdoor summer 2019 board game review with Justin and
Max King.
how about that? And today we will be reviewing a very old game.
Very old, like 19 years old.
19 years
That's
old.
like 137 when it comes to board games.
Absolutely. The game is called The Princes of Florence. And it's funny, of all of the people that made the game that's listed on the front, the one that I know the best is Wolfgang Kramer. We've got a ton of Wolfgang Kramer games. And it didn't really feel too much like one of his games. But nonetheless, Max has a hammer. And that was to encourage, I always try to enhance games with some type of a
Household object.
household object, not always household, some kind of physical manifestation of something that comes in the game.
So,
Like a gavel.
like a gavel, we use this as a gavel, so every time the bidding happened, I was like, sold.
So the game basically revolves around
Bidding.
bidding. It's an auction game. And the auction is for a few different types of items. Some of the items you could only get through an auction. Some of the items you could only get through buying. And the ultimate aspect of the game, and there's a million playthroughs of this game and instructions, is you're trying to attract, you have a hand of cards, and you can get more cards. You're trying to get the right things on the board to match the things in your cards and up the value of those cards, and then you play them out. But to me, the most interesting aspect of the game was not the auction or the building, and I'll show pictures of the board. The buildings, putting out the buildings reminded you of another game, Antiquity, which is a more recent game, but has the same idea of building
And
these
the buildings
train.
are the same shape.
Yeah, these weirdly shaped hospitals and opera houses and all like this. Although there's no opera houses in Antiquity.
There should be.
There should be. We should put that in there. But in this game, the buildings don't have any function. They're just the things that the cards want. So you're matching the cards to what you're building out. To me, the most interesting aspect of the game was that when you play a card out and you've matched a certain value, they call it work value, for the things you have on the board with the things that you have on the card, is you right then and there you have to divide what that value is in money and in points, because obviously points is what wins you the game, but money is what allows you to do the bidding and
Which
the
will give
buying.
you more points.
So what did you feel about the whole game overall?
I didn't like it that much.
He wasn't crazy about that much. What did it feel stale? Does it feel very old fashioned?
It felt very old-fashioned, stale, and all stuff that it already done, but done worse. Just doesn't grab me.
It didn't grab you, and that's totally fair. The art is extremely bland.
Bland.
I don't like that on the cards everything is sort of in scripty letters. I know it's supposed to be Renaissance, but everything was a little bit too scripty, not so clear.
So what do you rate it?
I'm glad that we have it. I'm glad I experienced it because there's been so much, like, this is one of those legendary games that really kind of launched the board game revolution, although in the early days, it's from 2000, right? I'm around 6.5. Although we played it 3 players, there's a 2-player variant that's a little bit tighter, and everyone remarks that at 5 players, that's where the game really shines, because that's
So
when the
my rating might change, but I want to see if you can figure it out. If your rating is 6.5,
I'm thinking
and the rating average is 6, my rating is
I think well, that's not the average rating for the game, is not 6.
no our average rating.
Oh, our average rating. Oh, then you're at a 5.5.
I'm at a 5.5.
You're at a 5.5. That's probably, in terms of not crappy, horrifying, broken games
Like
that we
4s or 3s.
right, but in terms of like games that work but just don't excite you, that's about as low as I've ever seen you go, except for maybe through the ages. Now remember, it's a gavel. It's supposed to be a gavel, not a hammer.
Order in the court.
So our official Justin and Max rating for this game is
6.
6, and I think that's fair. Princes of Florence. Just as a personal side note, that all of the cards that you're getting in the game are all artists or philosophers and things like that. And 2 of the cards that came out that I definitely had to build were the composer and the organist. And that's because, Max, why would I want to build an organist and composer?
Because he's an organist and a composer.
Those are the 2 things I do, so I had to get them regardless. And that was cool. I like that part.